Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is A Handwoven Experience. And in today's episode, I'm going to bring you the used loom buying checklist. You see, there's a lot of used looms out there, and they're going to need some good homes. But as a beginner, I can understand how overwhelming that is to look at a loom and be like, I don't know, is it a good loom? So in today's episode, I'm going to give you a short but effective list of things to look for as you are checking out a used loom and deciding whether it comes home with you or not. So the first thing to look over is the overall structure. Now, 99% of the looms you're going to look at are going to be wood. So you want to look at the wood to make sure it's not warped or cracked. You're going to have two beams in the front and the back. So you have like a taller one here and a shorter one, right? And then in the back, you have kind of a mirror image. So no matter what kind of loom you're looking at, they're going to have two in the front and two in the back to evaluate. So just look them over, make sure they're in good shape. And also be sure to check the kind of crossbars because it needs to hold this whole structure together. So start there, friends, and decide, is everything, does it look like it's still sturdy? Is it gonna function well? Is it gonna fall apart easily? We don't want any of that. So check out the overall structure first. Next up, I want you to take a look at the moving parts. Now here's what I mean. In any loom, you need some way to basically squish your weft yarns. Those are the yarns that are in your shuttle, the ones going back and forth. You need a way to squish them into place. It's not very official, I know, but that's in essence what you're doing. You need to put them in place, and your beater bar is the guide to do that, and it's going to move forward and back. That is the motion. So move it around, see if it moves easily. Make sure there's no problems with it. Look at the actual structure of the beater bar. How does it look? If that looks great, awesome. Next, we need to look at the shafts in the loom. Now, this whole episode is really geared towards a multi-shaft loom because that's my specialty. So that means a 4-shaft or an 8-shaft or more technically. But these shafts in the middle here, then, we need to make sure they're going to move up and down easily and smoothly. That's the whole idea. So check out these guys. Make sure the frames themselves are in good shape and they're going to hold together. And then make sure that whatever mechanism you're using to lift and lower them is working well too. On a floor loom like this, you're going to have pedals down below that are called treadles. But on a table loom, you're going to have a series of levers, either in the middle in the front or off to one side. So play with them, check them out, make sure that everything's moving and everything looks like it's going to work as it should be. So these lift and lower very smoothly. Next on our list is to check out all the stuff that's in the moving parts. So first of all, let's track back to our beater bar. In the beater bar, you need to have a reed. Now, the good news about buying a used loom is that it's probably going to have a reed because that means that someone actually did a project on it because you have to have a reed for a project. So check out this piece here in the middle. This is called a reed. Here, I pulled one out so you could see a little more. This is a reed right here. In great news, these are very easily replaceable. So if this reed in here is really, really rusty, or if it looks like the tines have been bent a lot, if this doesn't look like it's in good shape, that's not the end of the world. You can replace this piece. So check it out and see what you're working with here as far as the reed goes, the guts of the beater bar here. If it's not in good shape, it's not the end of the world. If it's a good loom otherwise, just plan to buy a replacement reed. Next up, let's talk about the heddles here. These little metal guys, minor metal at least, these little guys here that live in the shafts, just like this right here, these guys, these are called heddles. Now, like I said, minor metal, but they come in all kinds of materials. And depending on how old the loom is you're looking at, it could even be like a string heddle. So make sure to check out the heddles and get an idea of what you're working with. Are they in good shape? Is the material still okay? And just know that this is also something that you can replace if you need to. And in better news even, if you find a loom that has metal heddles, but for you, you start to feel like that's really heavy for your loom, it's hard to actually press the lever to get them to go up and down, you can replace all these with something called Texsolve, which is like a nylon, very lightweight. It's also quieter. So you have options. You could also vice versa. If you like the heavier the weight of the metal, great, go for it. My point being is that heddles are also something that you can replace. But as you're looking in the interior here of your shafts, make sure you're checking out these rails here because they also need to be in good shape. They need to be straight. They need to do their job, which means that these heddles can slide back and forth on them with ease. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the guts that are the parts that are in your shafts as well as the parts that are in the beater bar. And lastly, you want to take a look at the braking system. Now, with any kind of loom, you need some way to keep these yarns tight, so you need a braking system. And this is a little harder to check just as you're evaluating a loom, but at least look it over and make sure it looks like it's in working order. For instance, mine is just a little ratchet and pawl system in the front here, and then I have something in the back as well that helps kind of hold everything together. And like I said, if you're just evaluating, especially if it doesn't have a project on it, that can be hard to determine if it's a great braking system or not. But mostly, I like to just suggest that you just make sure nothing looks, broken, janky, that it looks like it's actually going to hold together. And some of the parts, like I said, if you're mechanically inclined, some of them could be replaced, of course, as well. But just look over the braking system and make sure you see how it works and you're comfortable with that specific system on the loom. So let's go over a list one more time really quickly. As you're looking over a used loom, start with the overall structure. How does it look? Is the wood in good shape? It needs to hold your project and not fall apart. That is the big thing, friends. We don't need a loom that's going to fall apart. So check the overall system and make sure that the structure and make sure that it's in good shape. Secondly, check the moving parts. So look at your beater bar, make sure it moves forward and back gracefully and easily, and then look at your shafts. How are they working? Are the treadles connected okay? How do the levers work if it's a table loom? Just ask yourself some of those questions. Next up, the insides of the moving parts. We need to look at the reed and the heddles. Now, in good news, these are things that can be replaced. So if you find that the rest of the loom is in pristine condition, but the heddles look a little rusty or the reed is a little bent, you can replace those parts, so that's no problem. But at least check them out to see what shape they're in so that you can decide if you need to sink a little money into the loom before you use it. And lastly, be sure to take a look at the braking system. Like I said, it's a little tricky to evaluate, especially if there isn't a project on it, but at least look it over and be aware that that is a major part of how your loom is going to function, therefore making it kind of important. So tell me this, friends. Have you ever purchased a used loom? And what shape was it in? Did you have to do a little cleanup or replacement? Let me know in the comments because I'm always curious to hear about your experience. All right, I hope that was helpful as you go shopping for the next used loom to come into your weaving universe. Have a great week, friends.